Yeah, that's a quote from the firemen. And we have news reporters on the ground 2,000 feet away from this, ducking from the incredible sounds of explosions, which we don't hear on any of the reports. They systematically take out the sounds of explosions, but there's well over a couple of hundred witnesses talking about these incredible explosions, and then debris flying everywhere out of the sides of the Twin Towers. As I mentioned, 600 feet flying laterally at 50 to 70 miles an hour. And so this is a gravitational collapse. We would expect to see 110 floors stacked up at the bottom of each of these buildings. Guess how many floors we see at the bottom? And the photographs, the videos, none. They're all gone. They've been pulverized and distributed laterally outside the building's footprint. This is supposed to be a gravitational collapse. We should have 20 to 40 stories high of floors sitting down there. Where are they? They're gone. So this is a huge problem for the official story as well.
Continue.
Well, so I explained very carefully to National Geographic what FEMA found and what FEMA documented in their Appendix C of their May of 2002 BPAT report. Steel, 2 steel samples. By the way, the only 2 steel samples saved from Building 7. But these 2 steel samples, they document intergranular melting, rapid oxidation, sulfidation, and even evaporation of the ends of these beams. Firemen have never seen this before. So how did this happen? And so they conclude, FEMA, that their best hypothesis as to how this building came down has only a low probability of occurrence. Well, what was that hypothesis? Fire and some damage from the beams in the World Trade Center North Tower when it went down earlier that morning. So what happens to this entire... Oh, they say further research investigation is necessary. But unfortunately, though, for those hoping to resolve the issue, all of that steel had been recycled to China, and FEMA had ordered the recycling of that steel. They deny this, but those who do this research end up citing FEMA for giving these orders. So they didn't save the steel. You always save the steel in any kind of a collapse, so you could thoroughly understand exactly what happened. Now, NIST takes over the investigation after May of 2002. What did they do with this Appendix C, documenting the melting of steel? They throw it out. It is not in the final report at all in the World Trade Center 7 that came out in November just last year, 7 years later. So they've basically systematically destroyed even more evidence. They do not want us to know about molten metal or melting of steel. In fact, John Gross denies the pools of molten iron, as it turns out to be. Stephen Jones and others analyze it. Turns out to be.
And we have all the videos of the firefighters saying it was like a foundry with molten metal running everywhere. We could play the clips, but they're cussing, including fire captains. But, I mean, it was just everywhere.
Yeah, it was. And there's dozens and dozens of witnesses. There's photographs. There's
it's all in my film Terror Storm, A History of Government-Sponsored Terrorism. The people really need to get it at Infowars.com. It goes through the whole history of this and the modern events, and that's how you really wake somebody up. I understand you're an engineer, you're an architect. That's an important area of research.
I saw it, and I was very impressed by Terror Storm. Very impressed.
Well, I mean, my point is that, though, there's the other angle where we also do the science in it. Well, thank you, Richard. We go at the history of it, that they've done this over and over again, and that helps people get past not imagining that government would do this. Government isn't like the rest of people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's disturbing because, all of this evidence is clear. As I mentioned, to 90% of the people I talk to, they end up agreeing with us and signing our petition. But they say, well, what do we do now? And I'm going, well, we're architects and engineers. We can carry you this far. We can give you the evidence that the media, the government, has not given you. You can see for yourself that this points to something other than some kind of Al-Qaeda attack. You have got to do the research. And Terror Storm provides an excellent background as to how these things have been systematic, as you mentioned earlier, with governments inciting wars for profit and control. But they want to know, well, how do we talk to people? Because this is a psychological problem for every American.
Well, it is. Richard, we're almost out of time. I want you to be able to finish that last point. But again, have you talked to the maker? You've got the transcript, but have you tried to call the guy and say you lied to me, or is he taking your phone calls?
No, yeah, he'll talk to me. We've emailed a couple of times. I have not presented him with a major confrontation at all. I'm trying to put my ducks in a row, and now I'm packing up for New York. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a little bit of time.
I understand.
Alan.
Next week you're going to get back, focus on it, have a plan, and then come out with it. Well, I think it's important so people, when they Google the name of this company, know who they're dealing with. I mean, I did some research on them. Was like, no way am I talking to you guys, because I've been around similar people. When I had the History Channel people here, I knew it was a hit piece, but when they said, oh, this is fair and we like you, at the end they just laughed at me in a parking lot. And I had the British crew say they were being fair, and at the end, we went to a Chinese food restaurant, and they wrote on a fortune cookie as a joke, they said, here, open this one, it's yours, at WeAreChange, and it said, you're dead, with another British crew. And then I said, is this a joke? And they said, whatever, we don't like you, and got up and left. I mean, it was just like they wanted me at the end to know, look, we punked you, we're nasty, we're black ops. And we love the New World Order. It's just basically what it was. Richard, stay there. I want to say bye to you on the other side. Plug some events coming up. I'm going to get into this world government news. Then Professor Stephen Jones is coming up. So much is happening.